August 6th of 1945 is a memory of pacifism and a tragedy of world history. At 9:15 a.m., the first atomic bomb aimed directly at civilians was dropped from an American plane over the Japanese city of Hiroshima. On July 16, the first explosion in human history was carried out by the United States of America, in the shadow of the project as part of a preparatory test for this devastating weapon of war. Manhattan in the Arizona desert, New Mexico. When representatives of the three major victorious nations met in Potsdam from July 17 to August 2 of 1945, after the defeat of the Nazis, US President Harry S. Truman already knew the effects of his secret weapon, although for this he insists on making Japan conditional on total surrender. This is known not to happen in a city that has inherited samurai traditions. They tried to give a memorable lesson. For this reason, on March 9 of 1945, the Americans destroyed parts of Tokyo with their M69 napalm, killing some 80,000 people and injuring a similar number. Everything fell apart after Potsdam, and only the United States knew, not fully, the destructive capabilities of weapons like fusion and radioactive fission bombs. In the same way, on August 6 of 1945, the people of Hiroshima woke up, ready to start their activities like any day in wartime. An American plane flew over the area and dropped an atomic bomb, codenamed Little Boy, before it was discovered containing 4.4 tons and 64 kilograms of uranium, detonating about 16 kilograms of TNT, more than 1,000 times the intensity of flash, that instantly killed 70,000 people. Side effects persist and will still persist. The plane was a B-29, the Enola Gay. As soon as the mushroom of death rose over Japan, those responsible for the launch alerted President Truman, who was returning to the United States from Potsdam on the USS Augusta. In his memoir, he commented, "I got very emotional. I called Burns at the ship to tell him the news. Big deal, time to go home." The Manhattan Project was commanded on September 17 of 1942 by General Leslie Groves, who was commissioned by U.S. Chief of Staff James C. Marshall on March 4 of 1945 to find possible targets for use of bombs. 4 Japanese cities were selected: Hiroshima, Kokura, Kyoto, and Niigata. Nagasaki was not on the original list, but Secretary of War Henry L. Stimson protested the presence of Kyoto, Japan's most important religious and cultural center. He managed to convince Marshall that Nagasaki was placed in his place. Without a doubt, the bombing conflict in Hiroshima is a complete violation of human rights. The safety and integrity of people was completely undervalued, attempting on lives of many people, and even more, it is a sign of terrorism by the United States, which is evident from the abuse of nuclear weapons it had back then.